Stevie, can you see me, mate?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, wicked. So yeah, we got Matthew here is a Villa fan. Also Travis, who is an Arsenal fan, and Stevie,
Arsenal fan.
Birmingham City, which should be quite interesting. So yeah, we just wanted to kick it off talking about the whole Delph situation, complete U-turn, which has kind of shocked everyone in football. Some people find it funny. I can imagine the Villa fans are kind of stressed out, and then we got Benteke, who everyone's kind of come to terms with is leaving. So yeah, Matthew, what are you thinking about both of them leaving, or is it a situation where if one left and the other one didn't, it would have been more ideal for Villa? And were you expecting it as well, that Delph was gonna do that?
Well, to be fair to you, I was expecting Benteke to leave, but I was never expecting Delph to leave. I mean, Benteke had quite a good second half of the season, so I thought, in a way, he sort of deserved to try himself at a high level. And I think it's Liverpool he's going to, and I think he deserves that chance to try himself at a bigger club with better facilities, a better chance of football winning something, a bigger club as such, as much as I hate to admit it. But with Delph, everything that's going on, it's sort of angered me a bit because I was at the game earlier in the season where he came on screen and said, preaching all about loyalty and why he signed a contract at Villa, that it's his club, and I thought we made a great returning gesture about making him his captain, and the fact that he's gone and done this, it sort of feels like it's a stab in the back kind of thing. It proves that there's not a lot of loyalty within football anymore, and I doubt he's ever going to get a game at Man City. There's a lot better players in his position.
It's funny how he specifically said that loyalty in football still exists. Like he specifically said that, not even like I'm gonna stay, left it at that. Like he specifically said those words, which is kind of crazy. But do you, as a Villa fan, do you even think Benteke wanted to leave? Because I've heard Liverpool fans saying stuff like Benteke doesn't even want to leave. It's just like his contract clause has been triggered, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always got the feeling he liked being at Aston Villa. He's treated by the fans and by the club itself, and he never thought he was too big for the club. I mean, if we remember, he actually performed the U-turn because I think he was going to join, is it Tottenham or something last season. But he decided he was going to stay in the end, and I think he proved himself. He proved that there is some loyalty in football, and I think he deserves his chance at a higher level because he is a very, very good player. But yeah, I'm surprised he's gone, and I wouldn't be surprised if what he's saying is true, that he does love the club, because you get the feeling he likes being at Aston Villa.
Stevie, what do you think about Fabian Delph as a Birmingham City fan?
Well, I'm not going to be biased or anything. As much as I'd like to be biased, I'm not going to be. Personally, he doesn't stand out for me as a player. He never has. He does the job in the midfield. He's not. You can say he's not an eye-catchy player. Whatever you can say, he doesn't catch the fans' eye. What he does, he's good at what he does. To be fair, however, if you look at Man City, they've probably been told they need more English players within the team. Because it is a very, foreign-based club when it comes to the starting 11. That's why they brought in Sterling. That's why they brought in Fabian Delph. However, do you start him? Depends on the system and so ever. I don't know. I don't know if it is a good signing. And even in terms with both of the transfer fees, you look at the fee for Delph and you look at the fee for Sterling. 2 English starting 11 players. It's a little ludicrous. Doesn't really make sense. What do you think?
Delph. Do you think he's better than Fernando or Fernandinho? That's what I'm thinking. Because
I don't think he is.
I'm not too convinced on them 2 players either.
Average.
He might get it. I think he might get in there alongside Yaya Toure, possibly now and again.
And the thing is, as a Villa fan, Matthew, you should be. I know the Delph thing might be a bit of a blow, yeah. But the possibility of bringing in Charlie Austin, is that not an exciting thing there?
It's very exciting, but every club from Land's End to John O'Groats seems to be linked to them at the moment. Every day I see even Leicester's now linked to them. I mean,
but the thing is though, selling Delph and Benteke means that Tim Sherwood needs to get a replacement. Like it's not even speculation. Like you need a replacement now.
Yeah. To be fair, if we the thought of signing Austin to Villa, I think would suit us perfectly. He suits the Aston Villa DNA. He's English. He's powerful. He gets in there, and I think he'd be a great attribution for Aston Villa. To be fair, I think it's just what we need.
I think right now, and what Aston Villa have needed for a few years is just proper investment in the team. Like there's money, the money is coming in now, and I think you need to have a summer that Southampton had last season, where you just get the right players in, because Southampton did so well last summer. And they got raided last summer.
Southampton, like I remember Travis saying, Southampton are getting left to look like a sieve, like just all their quality was just leaking out of the team. I remember thinking, what is going on? Like what's happening at Southampton? And they managed to somehow, make a few decent signings, and they kind of proved a lot of people wrong. So I think it's possible that
surely they've made 80, 90 million out of that squad.
Have a think of this, yeah. Benteke's brought in. He's going to bring in 32.5 million for Villa. Like that's a big deal. That's a big deal, man.
Massive. And I think
we get at least two very good players for that. I mean, Charlie Austin, 15 million. I think we should just go for it and say, yeah, we'll have him for 15.
Go.
We signed that Nice, the French international from Nice. Was it Guia? I'm not quite sure how we pronounce his name, but we made some good signings in the past couple of weeks. I think they're signings with intent that we're no longer a side that scrapes at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. I mean, we've made some poor signings over the past few years.
Definitely.
But this season, I'm slightly surprised with the calibre of signings that we've made.
Yeah, not Liverpool. Aston Villa, like for the last few seasons, has been very poor. It's been bottom 5 for the past 4 or 5 years.
3-4 years, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, everyone thinks we'll be playing Birmingham City next season. I mean, we're not that. But,
oh, give it a rest. Give it a rest. Come on, because if you think about it, you look at the Villa for the last couple of seasons, and they have been atrocious. To be fair, they've had a couple of good games. Even you agree, and that says something. Literally, yeah, they just haven't. How can you say it? They haven't put turbo mode on at all. They haven't got a turbo button.
We just haven't tried, and
it's poor investment in the team.
Poor investment. You look at the team, they're kids. And even if they're not kids, they're poor signings. For example, Carlos Sanchez. What has that guy done? Yeah. Really? He mistakes are coming out of his ear holes, if anything. Some of his passing is disgraceful. For a deep midfielder. He's a deep midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Carlos.
It's a liability. I'm not being harsh on the Villa team, but it's a fact. Jack Grealish. I don't know where this wonder kid's coming from, but I can't see.
He needs at least 2 more seasons before he's
definitely
up to Premier League quality, I would say.
Yeah.
So Matthew, do you think that players like Wyman and stuff are going to have to step up now, or do you think it's literally a case of just replacing quality with quality, bringing in somebody who's who can match Benteke up front and get his 18 goals a season or whatever he got, 13 goals? Do you reckon that?
The players we've got at the moment are not good enough for Aston Villa, so what I would do is that I would replace them with better quality, so the likes of Charlie Austin, and that I think is what we need to go for.
I think selling Benteke and getting Charlie Austin in for how much are they talking about in the press?
That's 15 million, I think.
That is good business. That's good business.
Yeah, and I think the best club that Austin would go to would either be Aston Villa or Newcastle, because they're proper clubs and they will nurture the English talent.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Obviously, I prefer him to go to Villa, but
I think Charlie Austin is probably the most, I wouldn't say similar player, but I do think he can do the job up front for you.
He'll get goals.
He's strong, gets his head on the ball. He's a good player. I wouldn't say he's similar to Benteke, but he's not. I wouldn't say the same style either. But in terms of getting the job done, because Benteke does, to be fair, I do think Charlie Austin's be a brilliant buy. And you've got what, 17 million left over?
Yeah. I
How much
think
is Delph?
if
8,
we
9, 10
signed
million?
Austin, if we signed Austin, I think we'd get the best out of Agbonlahor as well, because the past 2 seasons he's been far below under par.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, the only reason why he stayed at Villa this long is because he's Villa through and through. You can't buy Gabriel Agbonlahor's kind of loyalty.
No,
And
you
that's the
can't.
only reason why he's still at Villa. And I think if we sign Charlie Austin, we might get the best out of him as well. Because he's getting to his twilight of his career now.
This is what I was about to say. Bonahor's 28, isn't he? 28,
Yeah,
29.
he's getting on a bit. He's not young anymore.
Is he a player who relies on pace quite a bit? Is he really gonna improve anymore? Like, is it? I'm seeing it as potentially it could just be downhill from here. Not even to sound pessimistic, but
Yeah.
a few seasons he's not performed at a high level, really.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, which is why we need some support up front nowadays. And I think Charlie Austin would be the perfect suitor for that. Him and Agbonlahor up front, I think would be quite a good partnership.
And what about Delph replacement? What are you thinking about that?
I don't know. I don't know. This international from Nice is supposed to be swapping into his position, but do we need another midfielder? I'm not quite sure. I think we do. Who we go for, I don't know. But
I've got another thing to mention. You know how everyone's talking about, or how we mentioned that Liverpool play a completely different style of football to be bringing in Benteke. You know, he gets on the end of like crosses, and you know he's quite physical, holds the ball up, and all that.
Yeah.
So does that mean that if you get in another player like Charlie Austin or whoever, does that mean that Villa are going to have to adapt the way they play? Because it seems that they were kind of building their team and structure around Benteke. So now, bringing in another striker, does that mean that you don't have to adapt it again?
I think we will have to adapt it, but not to a great extent. I think the only change I feel that would come on if we signed a player like Austin would be to play it more on the deck. Because whenever I watched the Villa, it felt like we always lumped the ball over to Benteke.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think if we had Austin, we'd play it on the deck more and play better passing football, as opposed to more direct in the air football.
Matthew, what do you think this season has in store for you? What do you think is going to happen?
I think we'll do a lot better this season. This is the most optimistic I've been in quite a few years for Villa.
Ooh.
I disagree, man. I disagree there.
We won't be in a relegation fight. Behave there, Stevie. We'll finish outside of the top 10, but we won't be in the relegation fight. So sort of 13th, 14th.
Stevie, what do you think? Honestly.
Honestly, I'm going to be totally honest there. I think this could be Aston Villa's worst season. I'm going to be honest. The only one who's not smiling here is Matthew.
How can Villa realistically get back to their standard? Well, you know, around 2009 when they were finishing like sixth, and they were looking like, you know, a formidable opponent for any top 4 team. Yeah. Now, how can Liverpool get? How can Villa get back to that kind of stage on the table? And also, is Tim Sherwood the right man to do that?
I think Tim Sherwood is, because he seems to bring the best out of the young talent. Remember, it was him who gave Harry Kane his debut, and now he's a 30-goal season striker. So maybe could Alex be the same as that? Maybe.
Sorry, say that last point again. You just cut out a little bit.
I forgot now.
No, you said Harry Kane, but then after that.
Oh yeah. Tim Sherwood gave Harry Kane his debut, so maybe he could get the same out of Jack Grealish in a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? It's same sort of situation. But I think he needs to invest in youth. I don't think this takeover is going to happen, and I think the past few weeks that Randy Lerner has sort of realised that and is actually investing in the team to perhaps make it more attractive. I don't know, but I think we need to invest in the youth, nurture the youth, but whilst hand in hand with that, invest in some quality, whether it be from England or abroad.
Fair
The
point.
thing that I think lacking in this team has to be experience. You know, you're taking out, if anything, how old is Delph? You know,
25.
He has got experience, you can say. You know, he did a couple of years at Leeds and so ever. Benteke's got he's had a lot of playing experience for a young striker because he's not old. However, they do need proper established Premier League experience. That's something that Villa haven't had in the last couple of seasons, which is probably their downfall. Apart from the goalkeeping, which has been, personally, they've always had fantastic goalkeepers down in Villa. You take Ron Vlaar at the back, who's possibly going to Southampton, not too sure. A core race coming on quite well. I don't know. I just think the midfield's weak.
Yeah, I think it's our midfield that needs sorting out. I mean, if we sign Austin, I think that would be our up front sorted. And I think our midfield's pretty weak at the moment. I mean, there's just nothing there.
What about the likes of Charles and Zogbia and all these? What do you think? These are players you could class them as deadwood, and you could try and get maybe showing the exit door. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I would show Zogbia the exit door. I mean, he hasn't been good enough since he signed from Wigan. I don't think he's a £10 million player.
Oh no.
And why we signed him for that, I don't know. But
that's the thing. When you go for some of these players, it all looks rosy, and that's where sometimes people don't understand that sometimes a manager's ability to judge a transfer is a massive part of being a good manager. You see this now with people like Brendan Rodgers, who's coming under a lot of scrutiny for his signings and the amount Liverpool are paying for their signings, but being able to assess and risk manage and sign a player who's worth it is a big part of being a good manager. So if Tim Sherwood can nail that and get some good value out of this Benteke deal, then I think it shouldn't be all disaster and like doom and gloom for Villa. To be honest with you, now
I can't see it being positive. Not as from a Blues perspective. I don't want to stress on that point, but I can't see it being good.
Honestly,
take them throughout the team. I can't see who's there. Who's going to play decent football?
Honestly, at this point, I don't think it's going to finish at this point. That's why it feels a bit harsh to say. At this point, I'm fearing the worst for them. But we're yet to see where the money's going to be reinvested. I'm not a Blues fan, and I like Aston Villa. They're a proper Premier League team to me. Been to Villa Park a few times. I hope they stay up, but at this point in time, I don't know. The money needs to be reinvested well. If it's reinvested well, if they need a summer like Southampton last season. Timothy has a big job here.
Because he hasn't just got to replace it. Obviously, Villa were kind of in survival mode, and they have been for the last few seasons. So it's not just about replacing; it's about adding on as well.
I don't know. I can't see it being good. It looks a little bit dark and gloomy for me.
Stevie doesn't agree with me. Stevie thinks it's going to be gloomy. Travis is open.
As I said earlier, Stevie needs to go to bed and have a lay down because he's talking absolute tripe there. I think if we sign Charlie Austin, we'd kick on this season. I think Charlie Austin could be the catalyst to get back to what Villa used to be a few years ago under O'Neill kind of thing. And I think. Go on, Stevie.
Okay. If you think of, in context, right, you don't want the striker to carry the team. What has Benteke been doing the last couple of years? He's been carrying Aston Villa on his back like a bucket of water. That's a fact.
Yeah,
Everybody
I agree with that.
Everybody looks down to Benteke and the bowing down. It's going to be the same with Austin. It's going to be a rewind and a replay of the last couple of seasons. You need the midfield to work. You need the midfield to feed the striker if you're going to play the lone striker. And that's something that the Villa haven't had. All right, Benteke, different class for me. He's fantastic. If anything, he's one of the top 5 strikers in the Premier League. Fact for me, 110%.
Wow.
I do like him. I'm happy he's gone to Liverpool because now I could follow him even better with a free soul. With a free soul, literally a free soul. I feel like I'm gonna feel like a high flying bird when I watch him now. No limits or anything.
Okay, so the consensus is, Matthew's not the Villa fan who's not seeing it as all doom and gloom. He's staying optimistic. Travis is staying open-minded. He just wants to see what Tim Sherwood can do and if he can make it see if Villa can have a summer like Southampton. Stevie thinks it's all doom and gloom and it's downhill for Villa. They're probably going to get relegated and be with Birmingham. I'm thinking it's not all doom and gloom if Tim Sherwood plays the right buttons here and pulls the right strings. I think that Charlie Austin is a good replacement for Benteke. It just depends on how well Villa can adapt their team to him, which Stevie has also mentioned might not be a good idea again. But yeah, I think that's the general. That's everyone's points wrapped up. But it's been fun. It's been fun.
That was interesting.
It was good fun, eh?
Just going to put it out one more time. I think a tenner on the Villa. 17th place I'm going to give them. And I'm being generous. I'm being generous.
Tell you what, Stevie, I've got something for you.
Okay.
Don't fuck yourself. I think City are going to be playing Shrewsbury next.
These are... Oh,